So guys, this battle between Tinubu and the North is really getting tougher this time. I mean, it's getting intense. So El-Rufai has come out to raise alarm that there are plots to arrest him and detain him and do this to him and do that to him. And we all know that the professor from the North, who has always been very critical of the Tinubu's government, that one, hey, they've already arrested him and they've gone to like bring his case again, you know. Now, El-Rufai is saying that there are plots to equally arrest him. So, guys, what politics cannot do in this country does not exist. I mean, what politics cannot do does not exist. Anyway, let me allow you just take a look at how Arise Television and the crew members there, how they discuss and analyze what El-Rufai is saying in terms of plots to arrest him. But I tell you, hey, Tinubu will not want to spare anybody that is criticizing him and anybody that doesn't have intention to support him come 2027. But the question remains, does APC plans to put everybody in one party? Is that the plot? I don't think there's anything for somebody to join the opposition. Anyway, let me allow you to take a look at the reaction coming from Arise TV on this. Take a look.
Former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, who has been critical of the Tinubu administration, has alleged a plot by the government to arrest, detain, and torture him, similar to the treatment of ex-CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele. Well, El-Rufai made the claim in a post on X on Tuesday while responding to concerns raised by a supporter, Imran Wakili. In a post on his verified handle, Wakili had said he was hearing rumors of El-Rufai's possible arrest, to which the former governor responded that he was aware of the plot as messages had been sent to him through his relations. His tweet reads in part, "Don't worry, be happy. What will be, will be." He wrote, "Dear Imran, I have been hearing these same rumors of arrest, detention, and torture in some dungeon in the NSA's office where Emefiele was allegedly tortured to resign as CBN governor since July 2024, when the so-called report of the Kaduna Assembly began circulating. They freaked out when we challenged the legality of the premeditated defamation and went to every length to compromise the judicial process, and this is continuing at the Court of Appeal. They have sent such similar messages of intimidation and threats through many of my friends, family, political associates, because they want me to go on self-imposed exile. I have now put all my previous academic and language learning plans on hold and will spend more time in Nigeria than ever before. Silence is no longer golden. Inaction has never been an option." Well, he went on to talk about how he's not afraid of arrest, and then he followed up with, "For the attention of the pathetic characters that don't sleep. Well, whenever I am in Nigeria, take notice that I intend to return in time for the launch of President IBB's memoirs, Inshallah, scheduled for 20th February. Thanks, Makiki. I mean, El-Rufai's tweet was quite cheeky. I thought I should read it. It was a lengthy tweet. Yeah. But, you know, I mean, he detailed how he felt. He's been speaking. I mean, he's one of the reasons we invited Daniel Bola back on, you know, on the show so that, you know, we could address his sort of attack on the Tinubu administration. Rufai.
You see, the Tinubu administration should watch it.
Yes.
These attempts that any dissenting voices are picked up, it's not fair. A lot of people are linking that to what happened to Professor Yusuf as we speak, although there was an initial case of corruption investigation on ground. Now El-Rufai is speaking and he's saying the allegations to pick him up. Must we have a country where there's no even opposition to talk? Please, I would like to point out, yeah, a lot of people can say El-Rufai has no justification to say all these things, but let's also ask, all the things he has said, are they lies? Has El-Rufai lied?
I don't know about the torturing of Godwin Emefiele in...
No.
Has
El-Rufai lied?
I mean, we don't know.
As regards Emefiele, didn't they put Emefiele in incarceration and we see the ding-dong game they played as regards getting his bail?
Yeah, we saw that fight
Didn't they victimize Emefiele? Didn't you see the gestaporic side as how they went to pick up Emefiele? Did you see a great level of political motivation there? Why are we deceiving ourselves? Why are we deceiving ourselves in this country? So when you are not in cahoots with the central government, it becomes a problem. But other people can say these things and go scot-free with them. So I'm asking, is El-Rufai lying? All the things we've talked about, the fact that the North is not happy, are we not getting feelers from the North? Is he the only one speaking? All this marginalization they talked about, have we not sat here that even some Yoruba groups are complaining that Tinubu is packing Lagos boys there? Is it not here we sat down to discuss? So please, pick out the lie. Yes, you can make the argument, he has no justification. Like Bola also made the argument that if he was given that position, if he had passed security screening, he would not be saying all of this. But as what he's saying today, is El-Rufai lying?
Well, I cannot vouch for El-Rufai. I mean, people just speak as much as they can. They are free to, this is a forum of public opinion at this moment. So we can't really vouch for El-Rufai. I don't know if
criticisms
some of the criticism we've seen, right?
You can say some are from a place of far grace.
Spite, yes. I've seen some.
It's only one life we live. All of us will die one day.
All right.
There is nothing El-Rufai has said that has not been spotted. Look at the case of when Najatu said what Nuhu Ribadu has said before.
Right.
Since they retorted as regards the things Nuhu Ribadu said about Tinubu before, has he responded with his lawyers?
He did. He responded
after that response, and the Najatu, they brought evidence out for him. Has he responded since then?
El-Rufai, stop shaking.
The immediate cause, of course, is based on, obviously, Nuhu Ribadu as NSA. They're saying the fact that he criticized him. Is he not scared that they're now going to retaliate by holding him? Now, the unfortunate thing about this is the fact that there's actually an element of truth there. Like you've said, Rufai, that we've seen political actors who are not in favor of this administration, and it didn't just start with this administration, who are then targeted, whether using agencies like EFCC or the DSS or different things to target them or their businesses. If you recall, with Delifa Rotimi's case, remember he granted an interview where he said what he felt was going to happen. And almost like a prediction, it did play out almost in the way that he said we're going to apprehend him, take him to Ekiti and all that. So the fact that El-Rufai is coming out to speak out ahead of time might not be completely false. It might be based, according to what he said, on information that he has received. Now that he has put it out on the table, I'm hoping that it will be a deterrent for them to, if they're planning to take out this action without any basis or proof as to why they should, they should take him in. Every Nigerian should enjoy the freedom of speech and expression, especially if it's not slander or libelous, whereby he's not telling pockies or he's not telling lies, where he's telling the truth. Yeah. In his own case, if they decide that he's not being truthful, then let them present an alternative fact to what he's saying, right? But what I feel is, and this is why I said earlier, I love when these political gladiators are at loggerheads, because it gives us as Nigerians the opportunity to know the truth and the behind-the-scene action. So play on, let them continue, and let them continue to reveal things that happen in the background, with regards to El-Rufai. Najat Mohammed accused Nuhu Ribadu. El-Rufai has come out to say that, but he's saying what I love about him, and hate him or love him, justification or no justification, he's always been quite fearless. He said, in fact, rather than run away, he will come and stay here. Do anything you want to do to him, he will come out of prison, and everybody must die one day. So let him continue speaking the truth. We love it. But as long as it is truth, let him keep on exposing.
That is what I care about, really, the truth. I don't like to, fluff off things. I mean, these conversations will continue, and we don't know what El-Rufai is looking for. I don't know how come he's all of a sudden speaking. But obviously, speak truth to power. Would love to hear the truth. But I wanted to, highlight this story, Vimbai, for you to discuss. In another development, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arraigned a man, Precious Uzondu, on a 2-count charge for allegedly refusing to accept the Naira as legal tender. The EFCC, in a statement posted on X, disclosed that Uzondu, who is a retailer, allegedly rejected Nigeria's official currency as payment for the purchase of a Cartier diamond bracelet, but instead accepted $5,700 for the purchase. The agency said his actions violate Section 20 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act 2007, which stipulates that the currency notes issued by the bank shall be legal tender in Nigeria for any payment of any amount. I mean, I don't know if this will be termed as a welcome development, because, I mean, we've been talking about how we want to de-dollarize our economy. It's great, but, you know, there's been reactions to this. I mean, is it that they are selecting and picking the people that they will arrest? I mean, what about, like, you know, other places, like maybe Goodluck Road?
So many shops
And I just want to know about the embassies as well that collect, you know, dollars and their currencies and all of that. They're allowed to do that? Okay, go ahead.
They're allowed to do that.
Okay.
But I saw a comment somewhere where somebody was saying, hair vendors, we're watching you because the hair vendors.
You dollars.
Yes, because this is part of. It's just become an ecosystem where and you know what? I understand the rationale where they're saying that we import these things and so forth, but it's against the law.
Yes.
You cannot do it. We use naira in Nigeria, and the thing is, it points out a bigger problem, which is that, yes, you know, we do tackle the government, and yes, we hold the government accountable and responsible for the fact that there's runaway inflation, there's a number of policies causing it. But some of the hardship is what we're causing between ourselves, for ourselves. Why on earth are you charging in dollars? There's an exchange rate that prevails on the day.
Absolutely.
Just charge that and accept but because you don't want the hassle of going to look for dollars and so forth and whatever, it's unfair, and what we're doing is we're extorting one another. So totally uncalled for. Very quickly, I just want to touch on the El-Rufai thing. I came across a tweet of his from 2014.
Okay.
I'll read it word for word. He said, on this note, I'm going to bed. He had shared several tweets. He said, I am number 7 on the GEJ snipers list. So I will only worry when GMB, Ashiwaju, Amechi, Akonde, ETC are killed. That's his tweet from 2014. So there's a number of questions. So there's two sides to the story, right?
Okay, go ahead.
The one side of the story is that, are we saying that there's a systemic failure in Nigeria where these state police are being heavily politicized and used to pursue people? That's one side. On the other side, say, this man all crying wolf.
Is it okay? I mean, that's why I said
Jonathan wanted to kill. Now he's saying so.
I'm so happy you brought that too. That's why I told you, Rufai. I cannot vouch for El-Rufai. And thank you for the internet never lies. Thank you for highlighting that. I mean, look at this man saying that they are going to kill him at that time, and that he's number 7 on the list on those that they are targeting to kill. He wrote that on Twitter back in the days.
A couple of years ago.
Right.
Dele Farajimi revealed a plan to kill him. They didn't hurt him, but he revealed the plan. Just like this one probably revealed it. Just like he's revealing this.
That's why we're saying it's
a systemic issue, or it's either someone is crying wolf, or there's a systemic issue which goes beyond political party or
but they didn't kill him, and he's out. He served as Kaduna State Governor. Let's move.
The controversial former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, says the relationship between President Bola Tinubu and the North has deteriorated less than 2 years into his administration, warning that he may be given the Goodluck Jonathan treatment ahead of the 2027 elections. El-Rufai made the statement in a post on his verified X handle yesterday titled 2027 Southwest Tinubu's Supporters Playing with Fire, Part 1. The former governor's comments came as the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, yesterday urged Northerners nursing presidential ambitions in 2027 to bury the idea, insisting that Tinubu would serve his statutory 2 terms. El-Rufai had been attacking the ruling APC and the policies of the Tinubu government, even as political gladiators across party lines continued to mull the idea of floating a coalition capable of defeating APC. El-Rufai recalled that during the 2019 party primaries, he saw the way APC handled the primaries and wrote that if the party was not careful, it could go the way of the People's Democratic Party, which lost power after 16 years. He said he predicted that if APC did not return to its promised progressive path and ideology, but stayed obsessed with just winning elections at all costs, just like PDP, the ruling party could lose power at the federal level by 2031. Well, back in the news again is...
He never left, actually.
He never left.
He's been in the news in the last few days.
Since last week, exactly. Ayo, your take on this weird, almost
2 years to the date
Yeah.
to the next election,
Right,
and
so-
things are already this heated.
All right, so it was about this time 2 years ago when we were preparing for the general elections, if you recall, February 2023. And then, of course, it was May 29, 2023 that this administration came into power formally. And let me go back to former governor of Kaduna State, who has had a lot to get off his chest in the last few days, especially through his ex-post. I think he's Nigeria's own Trump, has the opportunity to just speak a lot on his social media platforms. I think if I want to summarize his speech, which interestingly starts with an admonition from the Bible, that is that, what's the admonition now? That it's too early. I'll get there. I'll get the quote. It's just skipping my mind now. No, when I saw it, I thought that's quite interesting. He was saying that it was important. So it's titled Southwest Tinubu's supporters playing with fire. That it is part of his speech. Now I remember. Sorry, I was trying to gather my thoughts. Was about it's a child that one loves that you correct,
okay,
and that that you chastise. And the Bible says that it's whom God loves that He chastises. So he used that admonition, but he actually started by saying that it was too early to begin to talk about elections in 2020 for 2027, but because of the urgency of the matter beforehand, and because he loved the APC so much and he didn't want his party to lose, he had to come out and speak about it very quickly. The summary of my own summary of what he says is that don't take the North for granted. North is still the kingmaker. In fact, the last part of what I said, he actually used those words and said that the lesson that President Tinubu should learn from former President Jonathan is the fact that the same mistake that President Goodluck Jonathan made was that he took the North for granted. He thought that they were very powerful in the South, and by ignoring and offending the North, and I paraphrase that, he lost that election. And he doesn't want the same fate to befall President Bola Tinubu, and then goes on to say a number of things. Now, is he correct with regards to not taking the North for granted? Perhaps, of course. I mean, in many countries around the world, there are stronghold regions. There are places where if you want to win an election, you have to be very intentional because of many factors, largely because of the population. And, you can tie this with the call for creation of new states, because a lot of people have often said that it is, when we come to population mapping, it is skewed in favor of the North. But we cannot deny the fact that when we come to population, the North is important. And so that's what he was trying to drive home. Now, what are the agitations? In recent times, you've heard, talks around, the president's appointment hasn't really favored the North. The president has been quite, South-driven in his appointment. He hasn't done a lot of work. And if you want to look at the merit of that, it's not actually, fully true. If you look at the activities and his appointments, many of them have reflected the North. I mean, the Chief of Defense Staff is from the North, and we've also had interventions. In fact, and I'll wrap up very shortly, the First Lady has often gone to the North through her Renewed Hope initiative to give, to that part of the country. But it feels like they are not satisfied, they are not happy yet with what is going on. If the president must win the election, there are a lot of factors against him at this point, and I end here. Number one is the coalition that is being formed. There are talks with Atiku going around and talking to different people. Number two is this North agitation. He has to face that and see what he can do in the interim. Number three is if other strongholds, emerge in the next few days or months, to challenge his candidature. But I think, there's some merit to what El-Rufai said, but I also think it's also time for us to begin to review the fact that the North is not the only region in Nigeria. There are other regions that make up the nation that also determine, if they come together, who emerges as president.
So the truth is, what he's saying is something we should take seriously. And even more seriously because he mentioned the Jonathan treatment. And we all know the Jonathan treatment. What was the Jonathan treatment? A lot of people felt that Jonathan violated certain agreements because he was not supposed to come back for a second term. He said he was going to do one term. And the PDP had internal crisis and the North went against them. So pretty much that's the thrust of the conversation. And he kept on warning that we'll be like the PDP if we don't check our internal mechanisms. The question a lot of people have asked, like Bola we had here yesterday, will always ask El-Rufai, is the fact that if you were in government, if they passed your security clearance, would you still say all of this? But let's also forget that a couple of people have pivoted out of the APC, the likes of Saliu Lukman, El-Rufai, and this...
He's still in the APC.
Pivoted in the sense that out of this government.
Okay.
Saliu Lukman has been a firm critic. of this government. He's been calling for coalitions of other political parties that they can actually do it. El-Rufai says it's still in the APC, but there are political talks here and there. And he has been criticizing this government big time. The truth has to be said. The North has a very big voting bloc. We can't deny that fact. In fact, after every election result, when you bring in what I call the Kardashian states, the KKK states, when those numbers come in, Katsina, Kano, Kaduna, those numbers are really huge, and they make the difference. And this El-Rufai was a fundamental factor in winning those areas before, in the last election. Because we remember the work he did for Tinubu. In fact, we remember the controversy around it then when people were saying, was he going to support Tinubu or not? And finally got the support. Even when they had the Naira crisis, it was one of those that stood with Tinubu and all of that. So everybody thought it was a given, I was going to serve in this cabinet. But what happened, happened. We've also heard a lot of discordant tunes out of the North. People are disgruntled and everything. I mean, take, for instance, the interview we had with Additional. After the announcement, Daily Trust carried it. The League of Northern Democrats did come out firmly. And I was at the party in Abidjan when I saw the likes of Shekarawu and all of that, a couple of other people there. So I'm not surprised that the League of Northern Democrats are saying, if he comes out, we'll support him. That's another political dynamics. Also, attaching with the political dynamics of Atiku Abubakar going to see Olusegun Obasanjo, my sources now tell me that that meeting was 100% political. And in fact, there were conversations made about concessions on who is probably going to take a VP role. So with all of this brewing, President Tinubu needs to watch it strongly. What is the counter-argument in favor of President Tinubu? A lot of his supporters say, he's a master strategist. Yes. Just like how a lot of people in Aso Rock supported other candidates, nobody gave Tinubu a chance to emerge in this last election, but he had played all of them and he played his game right. Last minute, he made those consolidations. A lot of people felt people within the villa tilted more towards Atiku Abubakar and other candidates. So, if that same northern base that came through for Tinubu, because Tinubu lost Lagos in the last election, he lost his base and all of that, he didn't do too well in a couple of other areas in the south, but when he came to the north, he consolidated his votes. If his major base that voted for him are talking like this, then he should take it strongly. What have been the arguments? The arguments have been, yes, he's been nepotistic in nature. They've said, in fact, they don't even say he gave positions to people in the south. They say he gave it to the Lagos boys. That's the argument. In fact, somebody was telling me the other day as regards, carry the upper fast. Railway. Somebody would have thought he should have gone to the north or something. Then he's gone to another Lagos boy, as it were. But that doesn't shroud carry the upper fast competence. In all of this, what should he do? Tinubu needs to reach out. He's been doing a lot. I mean, there was a couple of, overtures being made, like you said, about his wife and all of that. But he also needs to reach out. But a lot of people are also confident that Tinubu is a master strategist. He's going to bring the North in before the election. He's going to consolidate his base, that other people are just talking. And the fact that most of the other political parties are not settled. In fact, you want to run an election in 2027, you are talking about a coalition, but people have not agreed. Obi wants to run, Atiku wants to run, Saraki wants to run, everybody wants to run. But Tinubu is the only constant factor here because he's incumbent.
All right, there's so much to take away and to unpack, but very quickly, I'll just focus on the things that really stood out to me. And to me, one of the major talking points was the fact that the conversation around zoning, as much as, yes, we are, both of these individuals affirmed that the zoning does need to stay in the south and it needs northern support. However, the spirit behind zoning is being deeply eroded. And that's because it's not a constitutional requirement. So for me, this conversation raised the question, is it time for us to constitutionalize the zoning formula? If you look back to the spirit that we had at the Lapal House when this was first conceptualized, and of course, yes, the military governments also had their own formula for power sharing and zoning. However, a lot of these dynamics are now at play because the zoning is a gentleman's agreement, yet there are few gentlemen in politics. Now, when we look at this and we unpack deeper what former Governor El-Rufai was saying, and he was saying, don't mess with the North, don't mess with the North. It also seems that it may play into the very same geopolitical and tribal politics that he is chastising in his statement. So we have to be careful about that. Now, when we look deeper into this issue and we look at the Goodluck Jonathan factor, as it is being called, or what happened in that election, we also need to remember that the dynamics and the demographics in Nigeria have also evolved drastically, even though it's been a short period of time. We know that in the 2023 election, for the first time, many young people voted. So that shifted the dynamics. That's how we saw the movement called the Obedient Movement coming, and we saw a new energy to elections that we hadn't seen before. So I think we also need to be careful about focusing entirely on the legacy politics of saying that it's the North and the North, and make the mistake of possibly ignoring stronger groups or groups that can contend with the hegemony of the North when it comes to the outcome of elections in Nigeria, that are emerging and that are solidifying and coming together. Yes, we've already spoken about the issue of coalition and so forth. Just yesterday, we were speaking to the spokesperson of the Labour Party on Newsday, that's Mr. Arabambi, and he was saying that Labour Party is not going into coalition with anybody and has endorsed Peter Obi as their candidate. And we asked them, so what will happen? Because all the other candidates are speaking of a coalition. Again, it comes down to the fact that Nigerian politics is a zero-sum game. Winner takes all. So it's now a competition of egos. As egos decide who is going to take the ticket, who will be the flag bearer, will they actually agree? Or will we end up in another situation, just like 2023, where the division of the opposition ultimately allows President Tinubu to continue for another term? So yes, it's important for us to remember the role that the North has played traditionally and in the legacy of politics, but it's also important for us to take a fresh analysis of how the dynamics of the new demographics of Nigeria now stand and how those can easily tip things in anybody's favor if the right dynamic does not come to play.
So guys, the battle for 2027 is going to be very intense. When you look at the way things are going, the Tinubu's government is not ready to give people dividend of democracy, but they are out to grab power again in 2027. And they don't believe in due process. APC is never a due process party. They don't believe that somebody can actually come out, contest, campaign, and allow people to decide who they want. They don't believe it. And that is why it will be difficult to put this country in the right track. Because we have people who are always there to do things the wrong way. And that is what we are seeing. Now, El-Rufai has been very critical of Tinubu. The Tinubu's camp is saying that it's because he didn't get appointment. And El-Rufai is working hard, trying to set up coalition to meet other people so that they will be able to, push Tinubu away come 2027. And now Tinubu feels the only way he can retaliate is by arresting, if this is really true. Wonders shall never end in this country. The desperation among these politicians, under normal circumstances, I would say Tinubu should go and rest. El-Rufai should go and rest. They should just allow Nigeria to be. Let new people come on board. Let new people come on board. Even in the APC. It's not all these old cargoes that don't even know what to do. So guys, in short, if APC wins 2027 election, there is no way you call it a free and fair election because Nigerians are already ready to kick them out. So guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.